Hello everyone, I'm Nika, your host for today and founder of Teens and Friends United, TAFU abbreviated. Thank you all for joining us today. Seeing how everyone was talking about how action is needed but not actually doing any action themselves and asking others to take responsibility, I took action and made a group where everybody, especially teens, can take action too. Let me introduce you to our guest today, Kate Yeoman. Thank you for joining us today, Kate. I'll pass it on to you now.
Okay, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name's Kate. I work for Turtle Foundation, and I'm currently based in Cape Verde. I'm going to give you a little bit of a description about our organization and the kind of work that we do. Okay. Okay, so like I said, I work for the Turtle Foundation, and the Turtle Foundation has now been active for 20 years, and they started in 2000. So just to give you a brief overview, so Turtle Foundation is currently an international organization. We have two locations where we actively work, so in Cape Verde and then in Indonesia. But our head office is based in Germany, and that's where we were originally founded in 2000. And then we also have other offices around Europe and America. So in Switzerland, in Liechtenstein, and then also we have one in the UK recently created too. The branches within Europe and America are mainly there to help us with fundraising and raise public awareness and things. And then we have our two implementing branches in Cape Verde and in Indonesia. So just to give you a brief idea about the species that we're working on. So like I said, I'm based in Cape Verde, so I'm going to be focusing more on my talk today about the species that we have in Cape Verde. I'm definitely not a species specialist for Indonesia, so that's someone else's job. So in Cape Verde, our main species that we have here is the loggerhead turtle. So you can see this. Can you see if I move my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the loggerhead turtle. They can be around 80 centimeters to a meter long. They feed on pretty much anything. They're omnivorous. They're quite opportunistic. So if they see something that they fancy, they'll just go for it. There's other species, for example, the green turtles are a little bit more specialist, and the leatherbacks too. So it's the loggerhead turtles that we have here nesting in Cape Verde, but we do have 5 of the 7 species in the world passing through Cape Verdean waters. So we also have the hawksbill turtles and the olive ridley turtles, the green turtles and the leatherbacks. So the green turtles and the hawksbill turtles, they come here as juveniles, and they use the Cape Verdean islands to feed and grow and develop, and then they go and lay their eggs along the west coast of Africa. And then the olive ridleys and the leatherbacks, they're more, they kind of just pass through our waters. So it is possible to see them here, but it's not so common. So to talk to you a little bit about the kind of threats that turtles are facing. So all around the world, this isn't unique to Cape Verde. All around the world, turtles are poached for their meat and for their eggs as well. In some countries, it is a delicacy to eat turtle eggs. I can't really understand why you'd want to. But here in Cape Verde, the problem is poaching the turtles, the female turtles, the adults. Here it is a source of food, and they've been eaten here for years and years. If you think Cape Verde has a long history of drought and famine, the turtle season was a time of the year where people could rely on a food source. But now that we have all sorts of other impacts, for example, fishing nets, pollution, climate change, it's just absolutely not possible for people to sustain this activity of poaching turtles. So the populations are all in decline now. So 6 out of the 7 turtle populations are currently at risk. So why is it important to protect the sea turtles? So they perform a vital role in the ecosystem. Okay, so they maintain balance within the ecosystem. They replenish nutrients and things like that. They bring up nutrients from different channels, different areas of the ocean. And the food that they eat has to be kept in balance. So, for example, if there were no turtles, then the vegetation wouldn't be, how do I say, maintained, I guess, and that could then have an impact further on the food chain. So talking about Cape Verde in Boavista, so this is the loggerhead turtle. One really simple way of knowing it's a loggerhead turtle is if you count the scales on their back. So loggerhead turtles have 5 down the middle and then 5 down either side, if you ignore the ones around the outside. So it's 5, 5, 5. So where are we? So if you look here, let's start here. So this is Africa, so we're to the west coast of Africa. And then zooming in a little bit further, there are 10 islands around Cape Verde. And then we are based here in Boavista, where we have, it's estimated around about 60% of all of the total activity and all of the islands we have here in Boavista. So then within Boavista, Turtle Foundation is responsible for the beaches that have the green lines here. Here, here, and here. And then, so we're directly responsible for those. These are our camps. Oops. And then we are also indirectly responsible for these beaches in the red, where we help facilitate community projects. And then these beaches here are run by other NGOs. So we have BLCV here, and then we have Natura Regional there. Okay, and all together, we all protect pretty much all of the island of Boavista. Lots of these areas are rocky areas or where there just aren't that many turtles nesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Cape Verde is the 3rd largest nesting site of loggerhead turtles in the world. So the first one is in Florida, and then the second one is in Oman. And then, so we have the turtles coming here between June and October every year. And like I said, 60% or more of the turtles found in Cape Verde are found in Boavista. And we have, it's now considered a critically endangered sea turtle population. So what are their problems? So like I said previously, it is poaching. So Turtle Foundation started in 2000, but they didn't come to Cape Verde in 2000. In I think it's 2005, they had reports. They were calls for help, essentially. Reports of lots of turtles being killed. And so in 2017, they came to check it out. And just in that year alone, there was 1,200 animals estimated to have been killed just in Boavista, just on this island. So obviously they knew there was something that they needed to do. So since then, since 2000, so they started, let's go back. They started the project here in 2008 as just as a project, and then in 2012, Turtle Foundation started its journey as its own NGO. So Funda Riba was created in 2012. So this was its own entity. It's a Cape Verdean non-profit organization based here in Cape Verde. Okay. So since 2008, we'll go through the kind of activities that we do. So we now conduct patrols on the beaches every night. It's community-based beach patrols, so we have lots of local people working with us, and we also have lots of international volunteers and national volunteers that come and help us out too. In the last few years, we've also developed new techniques. So we have conservation dogs, which come out on the beaches with us at night and also during the mornings to look for turtles, any that have been poached or stranded, or for example, some of the poachers, they will upturn a turtle and so it can't move, it can't walk away, it can't get back to the sea, and they'll leave it covered in sand until the morning or until a better time for them to go pick it up. and our dogs can be used to go and locate those. And then with the drones as well, so we have night vision drones, so they can detect people and movement, and then we can send in the dogs as well to see exactly where these people are. And then we have direct nest protection as well. So we have specially formed areas called hatcheries where we relocate nests to. And here in the hatcheries, normally we improve the chances of a nest surviving from about 30% to about 70%. So they're a really important conservation tool that we have. Any nesting turtle that we come across, if she's in the right stage of the nesting process, then we will tag them. So we tag them with metal tags and we tag them with pit tags as well. So these are like a microchip, and then it gives each turtle their own unique number. And this is part of a collaboration with Queen Mary University in London. So they study all the data and then feed back to us about the population. And we've recently started a satellite tagging project as well in collaboration with Alliance. So most of the information that we have about turtles, sea turtles, is based on females because they're the ones that come to the shore. The male turtles spend all their lives at sea, so it's very, very difficult to have any idea about their population. So the satellite tagging is literally plucking the males out of the sea, sticking a tag on them and seeing where they go. It's been a really, really incredible part of the research there. And then environmental education, so we give lots of information to local school kids, also the local communities, tourists, and that type of thing. I should have gone through these photos as I was speaking. So that's one of the drone photos, that's one of the thermal images that we have. This is one of the hatcheries. And this is tagging a turtle, I believe. She might be taking DNA, can't we see? We do lots of community activities as well. So one of the big problems, like I said, was the poaching. So to try and give people a different income, we provided jobs through rangers, but it left the local women without jobs as well. So traditionally, the men would go out and kill the turtles, and then the ladies would prepare the meat, and then they would go around selling it. So we had to think of alternative incomes for the ladies. This is one of our initiatives where we have a group of ladies from one of the villages, and they've started making soaps to sell to people. And that's just one of many different activities that we have here. So trying to provide sustainable incomes and alternative incomes to local people. There's also a project recently where we painted all the local primary schools as well with the theme of the environment, of turtles, of the sea. We also do lots of beach cleans. We actually had one this weekend on Saturday where we invite local people to come and help us out and clear all the rubbish off the beach. In the north of the island, it is a really, really big problem. So we have lots and lots of discarded fishing equipment, nets, buoys, all sorts of things that are really, really dangerous for turtles nesting, but also while they're out in the sea as well. So I gave you a little bit of an explanation about where Turtle Foundation work. So this is based from the work from 2018. So we have these beaches here, Aguados, Boa Esperança. So they're taking care of the camp here, Boa Esperança in the north. This is where the beach clean. We then have a community project here, all along the north coast here. And then we have another two camps here. So Coral Velho, this is where we get the largest numbers of our turtles. And then here in La Cacao, we created this camp here in La Cacao because in 2010, there was a huge hotel built on this beach. It's an important turtle nesting beach, and someone decided it's a great place to put a hotel that had, I think it's 1,000 rooms, or could house 1,000 people. So you can imagine the light pollution and the pollution from litter and all sorts that has impacted that beach there. The vast majority of our turtles, they come from the west coast of Africa, so they're coming in this direction. So they tend to hit the east coast first, and then they kind of radiate around you can find turtles all around. You can find them on this little island. Sometimes, not so many, but yeah. This only goes up to 2018, but it shows you the trends of the turtle nesting numbers that we have within Turtle Foundation. So when we first started over 10 years ago, there's about 1,600 nests, and it has obviously really increased over the last few years. In 2018, it was an off the scale year for us. And then last year we had, I think it was around 6,000. No, the year before, sorry, 2019 was about 6,000, so about here. And last year we had 25,000, so that was way up here, which is very exhausting, but obviously really, really great news for us. It means the population is doing really, really well. One of the ideas as to why that might be increasing, it's obviously an increase in our effort, our research effort, so we know a lot more, we know where to find the turtles and that type of thing, but also conservation started on the island around just over 20 years ago, and it takes about 20 years for a turtle to be sexually active in order to reproduce. So it looks like we're having the first waves of our initial baby turtles coming back to our beaches and reproducing, which is really, really exciting. And then this, the kind of opposite image, is the amount of turtles that are being poached from our beaches. So like I said, in 2007, so this is the beaches just monitored by Turtle Foundation. We had around 800 turtles being killed. And then we started in 2008 with the local military. And then since then, we've increased our effort. We've also expanded the number of beaches that we're covering and the area as well. So the levels of poaching have significantly decreased. And then if you think back to this slide, the population is really increasing. So it may look like we have increased a little bit over the last few years, but actually as a percentage, it's very, very small in comparison to the population. And I wanted to speak to you a little bit more about volunteers. So like I said, it is a huge part of our program is to have international and local volunteers coming in. We have people from all sorts of countries, Brazil, lots of European countries coming in, and they really, really help with our effort. One of the main jobs, I guess, one of the main responsibilities that we have is just being present on the beaches. So deterring poachers. So if a poacher sees that there are people on the beach, they're not going to go to that beach. They're going to try and find somewhere where no one is. So if we manage to cover all of the beaches, hopefully they'll just give up and go home and the turtles will be safe. So we need lots of volunteers to help literally be present on the beaches. And you can see what camp life is like here. So these are the results again from 2018, but it's pretty much the same for now. So about 40 kilometers of beaches in Boavista are patrolled, protected from Turtle Foundation. The amount of poaching has been significantly reduced. We have lots of full-time and seasonal Cape Verdean employees here. That's something that's really, really important to Turtle Foundation, is passing over the responsibility to the Cape Verdeans and changing people's perceptions of turtles so they're not just a food source anymore, but they're something that people really, really want to protect. And that's the end of my presentation there. Did you have any questions? Do you want me to show you a video? What would you like to see? Oops.
I got a couple of questions. Like, what would the ideal volunteer be?
So there's not really any kind of ideal volunteer. Everyone is very welcome to come and join us. Things like people that are very resilient. So when people come to volunteer with us, they're living out on the beach, they're living in tents in a camp. So people that aren't going to be particularly squeamish, people that aren't really bothered if they don't get a full night's sleep. people that are very positive, people that are easy to get on with, people that respect everyone else. If you imagine you could be living with maybe 10, 20 other people in camp, you have to be very respectful of other people and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. But just people that are down to earth and there for a good time. And yeah.
Can poachers be dangerous?
They can be. Now in Cape Verde, it is illegal to kill a turtle, to be in possession of a turtle or any part of a turtle. So now poachers are more scared, I guess, of being caught. So it's far, far more likely that they would run away rather than approach anyone. If you think they are going out to kill a turtle, it is likely that they would have a knife or something in order to do that. They wouldn't have the intention, I believe, to use that against another human. But I mean, this situation could arise. We haven't had anything like that. But they are there for that reason.
Is it hard to find volunteers?
This year, yes. Last year, definitely. Normally, it's not too difficult. Lots of people are very enthusiastic about the environment at the moment. David Attenborough has obviously done a lot for us. Yeah, I would say it's not difficult. But in the last year, it really has been with COVID. There's been lots of travel restrictions. There's lots of people are worried about the implications of traveling, having to do quarantine and that type of thing. So generally, it's not. We speak to lots of universities and we get lots of students coming in, or people that just want a different type of holiday. But yeah, we are struggling at the moment with international volunteers. We've got lots of local volunteers, which is really nice to get people involved here.
How many volunteers did you have last year?
Last year we didn't have any international volunteers. The borders were closed in Cape Verde. So the borders closed in March and then they opened towards the end of October. So that was the entire turtle season. So we didn't have any. It was completely a local effort and we did an amazing job considering we had astronomical amounts of turtles last year. It was very exhausting, but everyone did a really, really incredible job.
How hard is it to be a volunteer?
Yeah, it depends on your expectation. If you come in knowing that it's not going to be the easiest thing that you do and that it does take a lot of physical energy and endurance, then you'll be fine. If you come in thinking that you're going to have a nice plush bed and you're going to have a television and you're going to have nice food, then it might be a little bit more tricky. The things that are difficult are the heat. It does get very hot in Cape Verde. The lack of sleep because we work at night, so we're patrolling the beaches at night or early in the morning. That can be difficult. But I think that the good and the experience that you get out of it far, far outweighs anything that is potentially difficult.
Except for like the experience and like helping the turtles, is there any other gaining for private individuals by volunteering?
So, for example, like language. So normally in the camps, we have people from all different countries, all different nationalities, all different cultures. So you get to meet people from all sorts of different walks of life where ordinarily you wouldn't have met them. Different ages as well. So you can learn a lot that way. Also, you might learn a little bit about communication. So for example, if you don't speak the same language as someone, you do find a way to communicate to them that you want that bit of paper or that bit of bread passing or something like that. And you can exchange, I don't know, dances from your culture or music from your culture. How to get along in the team as well, what that means. And then also, I guess, learning not to be dependent on 21st century life and technology. So you are in a camp where there's limited electricity, there's limited internet. Yeah, so I think that there is a lot to be gained other than the science and conservation side of things.
Yeah. How long does volunteering last when you go there?
It's totally up to you. So the minimum stay that we have is 2 weeks, but you can stay the entire season if you want to. It totally depends on the person.
Oh wow! So when's the season start and end then?
So the season starts in June. So we built the camps a couple of weeks ago, and then we will take the camps down towards the end of October.
Mm. And yeah, what are the costs of being a volunteer?
So again, that depends on how long you stay. So for a short-term volunteer, it's 20 euros a day. For longer term, it's 12 euros per day, and that covers all of your food, your accommodation, your transport within Boavista. And then on top of that, you have to pay for your own flights and things here. But it's totally non-profit. Everything that you pay goes towards your stay here. But all of that information is on our website. I'm sure we can put up a link to that.
Oh, okay, thank you. Um, like, how do you recruit volunteers? Do they just apply or?
So it's a mix really. So we speak to different universities, different schools. Lots of our volunteers then go on to recommend us to their friends or their family as well. Social media as well. But then we also advertise on some conservation job boards as well. A lot of it is word of mouth.
Do you have any footage from last year or the year before?
Yeah, so I was one of the camp coordinators, the field coordinator last year in camp. So I took lots of videos, lots of photos. I can give them to you to show, or how do you want to see them?
If you can just show the screen, it'll be okay. If you have them now.
I can have a look. Okay, let's try this one. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So this is a title that came out in the morning. So I was doing the census patrol, which is the morning patrol, where you go and count all of the activity that was there. So this is a female turtle laying her eggs. Yeah. You can see the eggs in the hole.
Quite cute.
And her little ping pong balls. That's her head. So once she's laid all the eggs, then she'll use her back legs to fill in the hole, to cover it over. You see that she's starting to wake up a little bit now. So when they are nesting, they do go into a bit of a trance. So they don't really know that anything is going on around them. It's called the nesting trance. So then she's just coming out of it a little bit now.
Oh.
So the first stage was covering, and now she's using her front flippers as well. So this is camouflaging. So she's trying to stop any predators from potentially knowing exactly where her nest is and where the eggs are. It basically means throwing sand all over the place.
She does look a bit sleepy.
Yeah, I mean, it is exhausting, I think, bless them. And one female do this 4 or 5 times per season. So they don't just come once, they come normally 4 or 5 times in the same year.
Oh wow, that's a lot of eggs.
Yeah, so if you think on average per nest, you've got about 80 to 100 eggs. That's a lot of eggs.
Can you recognize turtles by their tracks? Like the species?
Yeah, the species you can, yeah.
Oh wow. It's quite cool. Is there any times when the males come on shore?
Not unless they're sick, normally. They normally stay in the sea. They have no reason to come ashore. It is actually a very dangerous time for the females. They're very vulnerable when they come onto the beach. They're exposed to far more predators. They're much more agile in the water, so it's much safer for a turtle to be in the water than it is in the beach. So it's very unlikely that you'd see a male.
What would be your message to young people and potential volunteers and teens in general and everyone?
Potential volunteers, absolutely do it. I first came here as a volunteer 6 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. I can't believe that now I live here in Boavista, following on from that experience. But general message: if you can't, if you don't have the time or the money to come out and volunteer, just try and think about what you're doing with your day-to-day life in terms of what impact that is having on the planet. So every day we're walking on the beaches here and we're seeing endless amounts of plastic and rubbish, and that's having a really awful effect, not only on the turtles but on the entire earth. So if you can think a little bit more about your consumption there, then if everyone can do that, then that would be wonderful.
I don't think I have any more questions.
No?
No. Well,
Can I ask you why you chose to speak with us?
I really
What's your interest with turtles and things?
Well, I really like turtles, and I saw two once I went to Tenerife,
Oh, nice.
and yeah, they were quite cute. One was very far away, and one was we were on a dolphin/whale watching tour, and we saw one that was like right next to the boat, but then the other one was far away. I think I was the only one that actually saw it.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, oh, that's so lucky.
It was so cute.
So do you have plans to do something like this in the future, to
Yeah, I'd
join a
really like
volunteer
it.
program or something?
What's the minimum age for volunteering? Oh, another question.
For us, it's 18 years old. So I think you've got a little while yet, haven't you?
Years.
But we'll still be here. Hopefully, we'll still be here in another few years. We have to put a minimum age because people are traveling by themselves and they're coming to live in a completely different environment. So for everyone's safety, we have to put the minimum age to 18 years, I'm afraid.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you everyone, and thank you for joining us today, Kate.
Thank you very much for inviting us. It's been a pleasure. If anyone wants to get any more information, then we'll leave a link to our website, Turtle Foundation, and we hope to hear from some of you.
Thank you, and remember to stay responsible. Bye.